Imagine waking up one morning to discover that the global textile industry, worth over $1.7 trillion, has just shifted its center of gravity. Not to Europe, not to America, not even to China, but to Nigeria. Imagine a world where African nations no longer sit at the negotiation table as spectators, but as power brokers, capable of flipping global markets upside down with a single signature. Now imagine the United States, for decades the self-appointed referee of global trade, suddenly realizing that Africa's giant, Nigeria, has quietly signed a massive $1 billion cotton deal with India without consulting them, without needing their approval, and without America getting even a slice of the pie. A deal so big, a deal so strategic, a deal so unexpected that it has now left Washington scrambling, lobbyists panicking, and American textile farmers asking, how did Nigeria pull this off? Welcome back to Iazicho Africa, your #1 channel for Africa's rising power moves, global economic shifts, and the new era of African influence reshaping the modern world. Today, we dive deep, very deep, into how Nigeria landed one of the biggest agricultural deals in decades. A deal that will empower local farmers, open massive export pipelines, create jobs, spark industrialization, and reposition Nigeria as a textile powerhouse on the world stage. And of course, how this single deal between Nigeria and India has left America completely behind. To understand the magnitude of this deal, you must first understand the history. For over 60 years, Nigeria's cotton industry was one of the sleeping giants of Africa. In the 1960s and 1970s, Nigeria was one of the top 10 cotton producers in the world. Northern Nigeria was famous for cotton fields that stretched across entire states. The textile industries of Kaduna, Kano, and Lagos employed hundreds of thousands. Nigerian cotton fed factories across Asia and Europe. But then, a mix of government mismanagement, neglect, cheap imports, and lack of investment destroyed the industry. By the early 2000s, Nigerian cotton production had collapsed by 95%, and the once mighty textile factories fell silent. Factories closed. Farmers switched to other crops. Cotton production became a shadow of its former self. But today, that old story is being rewritten. The new $1 billion cotton deal between Nigeria and India represents a historic comeback, a rebirth, a reawakening. The giant is rising again. Let's make something very clear. India did not sign this deal by accident. India is one of the top textile producers in the world. But in recent years, climate issues, rising domestic demand, and supply shortages have put pressure on India's cotton supply. India needed Heavy Checkmark, a stable and reliable cotton partner. Heavy Checkmark, a large-scale producer with long-term potential. Heavy Checkmark, a country with millions of hectares of fertile land. Heavy Checkmark, a nation not controlled by Western influence. And Nigeria checked every box. Nigeria has massive cotton growing potential, a growing industrial sector, a 200 million person domestic market, a population ready for jobs, a government eager for foreign partnerships, a strategic location linking West Africa to Europe and the Americas. India saw something America ignored. Nigeria is not just a market. Nigeria is a global production hub waiting to explode. This deal positions India as a long-term partner in Nigeria's agricultural transformation. This is not just a cotton buying agreement. It is an entire industrial transformation package. The deal covers cotton cultivation expansion. India will invest in new cotton farms, high-yield cotton seed varieties, mechanized farming equipment, irrigation systems, fertilizer, and farm inputs. This alone can boost Nigeria's cotton output by 400% within a few years. Textile manufacturing investment. Indian investors and textile giants will build or revive spinning mills, ginneries, weaving factories, dyeing and finishing plants, meaning Nigerian cotton will no longer just be exported raw. It will be processed, woven, and turned into finished products inside Nigeria. Technology transfer. India will transfer bollworm-resistant cotton technology, modern ginning machines, fiber quality enhancement systems, efficient irrigation mapping technology. This means Nigeria gets the technology needed to become a global competitor. Training for Nigerian farmers. Indian agricultural experts will train 200,000 Nigerian farmers, 10,000 local agronomists, 5,000 textile engineers. Employment boom? Yes. Massive, guaranteed cotton purchase agreement. India will commit to buying billions of dollars worth of Nigerian cotton over multiple years, guaranteeing a long-term revenue stream for Nigeria. This is not a one-off deal. This is a strategic partnership. Let's be honest. America is not happy. Not because Nigeria is rising, not because India is expanding, but because this deal breaks a pattern America was used to. For decades, America dominated global textile trade. African nations often relied on American loans, American aid, American markets, and American approval. But now, Nigeria bypassed all of that. Nigeria didn't ask America for permission. Nigeria didn't wait for America's approval. Nigeria didn't sign with American firms. Instead, Nigeria shook hands with India, a fellow global South powerhouse. For America, this is a geopolitical message. Africa is choosing its own partners. Africa is choosing its own economic destiny. Africa is no longer waiting for Western approval. This deal proves America is losing influence in African trade. India is rising as a global economic partner for Africa. African countries are diversifying their alliances. The South-South partnership is the future. America can't compete on price. America can't compete on agricultural flexibility. America can't compete with India's willingness to invest in Africa without political demands. So yes, Nigeria left America behind. And America knows it. This deal is not just about cotton. It's about transformation, job creation. An estimated 1.2 million jobs could be created in cotton farming, processing, transport, textile manufacturing, warehousing, export logistics. This is huge for the Nigerian economy. Revival of northern Nigeria's economy. Northern states like Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, Sokoto, Bauchi will see massive agricultural and industrial transformation. Cotton farming can revive communities, empower youth, and reduce unemployment and insecurity. Industrialization. This deal will revive spinning mills, weaving factories, textile complexes. Nigeria could become West Africa's textile capital again. Export diversification. Nigeria will shift from oil dependence to manufacturing exports. This is essential for economic stability. Strengthening Nigeria-India relations. India is already one of Nigeria's largest trading partners. This $1 billion deal will deepen investment, technology transfer, trade, diplomacy. Nigeria gains a long-term partner. India gains a strong African ally. This deal represents a trend we've been covering on Echo Africa. Africa is turning east. Africa is rising. Africa is choosing partners who respect its interests. Why? Because American deals usually come with conditions, political pressure, interference, restrictions, delayed funding, narrow benefits. Meanwhile, India, China, Turkey, and Middle Eastern nations offer infrastructure, investment, technology, factories, jobs, long-term trade guarantees, without lectures, without neo-colonial tactics, without strings attached. Africa is choosing a new path, and Nigeria just made one of the boldest moves. Make no mistake, India is celebrating this deal. Here's why. They secure a massive cotton supply. They strengthen their presence in Africa. They outmaneuver America and China. Their textile companies gain access to cheaper, high-quality fiber. Their investments will multiply. They earn geopolitical influence across West Africa. India sees Nigeria as a long-term gateway to the African market. This is not business. This is strategy. While America may not publicly admit it behind the scenes, American cotton exporters are angry. Lobby groups are pressuring Washington. Textile companies are worried. Politicians are calling for new Africa policies. America is losing ground in Africa's agricultural space. And this $1 billion Nigeria-India deal is a painful reminder. This deal sends a loud message. Africa is rising and ready to compete. African nations are ready for industrial revolutions. Africa is building economic independence. Nigeria's move will inspire Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda to negotiate larger agricultural and industrial deals. Africa is no longer the raw material dumping ground. Africa is becoming a producer, a manufacturer, a global trading force, a continent with choices, a continent of partners, not dependents. This is not just a cotton deal. This is a geopolitical earthquake. It symbolizes a world where African nations negotiate for themselves. Western pressure is no longer absolute. Asian powers see Africa as equal partners. African agriculture becomes a trillion-dollar sector. Nigeria's deal with India is a blueprint for what Africa must do. Upgrade agriculture. Process locally. Partner strategically. Export finished goods. Build industries. Empower farmers. Use land as leverage. Control market value. This is the future. And it's already happening. Nigeria's $1 billion cotton megadeal with India is more than a contract. It's a declaration. A declaration that Africa can negotiate billion-dollar deals. Africa can industrialize again. Africa can choose its own partners. Africa can rise without Western approval. And Nigeria is leading the way. As America watches from the sidelines, India and Nigeria are rewriting the rules of global trade. And Africa's giant has just awakened, stronger than ever. This is Ezicho Africa. And this is the new Africa the world must now respect. If you believe in Africa's rise, if you believe in African power, if you believe Africa deserves global influence, then hit that like, hit that subscribe, and join the movement. Because Africa is rising, and we are documenting history as it happens. Ezicho Africa, where Africa's voice becomes global.